Hi there, it's Claire from Come Back Brighter here. So I'm going to share with you that something that I've been going through over the last couple of years that's been well, life-changing, quite frankly. And I think what's happened is I have shared my testimony, so I'm sure some of it's mentioned in that. But what I want to do is I want to like talk to you about what I've been going through. So explain why maybe I'm talking about different things than I have done previously, so you understand what's going on. So a couple of years ago, I had an absolute like crisis of faith, I think is the only way really to describe it, in like world leadership. Okay. I was like, just didn't know what was going on, who to trust, um, really which way to turn. And as a result of that, like previously, I'd like put my trust in like crystals and tarot cards and all this and meditation and all this kind of thing. And I might have shared that in some of my videos previously. And I thought that it was getting me like, I thought I'd found like where I belong. Okay, like my people, like because there was a particular group of women that I joined in France, and I thought, oh, these are my kind of women. Had the same kind of ideas about things as I did or as I thought, and we had like things in common. So I went down that pathway, and then after this kind of crisis, complete crisis that I had in leadership, um, I didn't really know which way to turn, and or I did, and I didn't want to do it. That's the truth of it. Okay, that's the truth of it. Because I had this like idea of like Christians as being like hypocrites. I had, like experiences in church where it was like the richest man went and sat up in the best pew, and he was like, it felt like, it might not have been true, it felt like he was treated differently than everybody else because he had money. It felt like everyone was like, I don't know, like subservient to him or something. I don't know, there's something weird going on there. And so I effectively spent like 40 something years like running away from God, and trying absolutely everything else that I could think of to give me some sort of like comfort and peace, and reassurance. Um, and so what happened when I had this crisis? Effectively, I felt like I had no other choice but to turn to God. And so that's what I did. And as part of turning to God, I repented from all my involvement with tarot cards and crystals and meditation and all these things that I've previously been involved with. I just it was like such a huge part of my life. It was a really difficult thing to let go of um, because if it felt like it meant something to me, but I realized that it was not like God didn't want me to do it. I didn't. None of this was me. It was I felt really uncomfortable about it, so I got rid of it all. A lot of it I burnt, some of it I buried, um, but none of it I gave away. None of it passed into other people's hands because I don't think it's good at all. It doesn't sit well with me, so I don't think it's a good thing. I mean, so that was a completely personal decision, and I feel much better for it. So now I really have kind of um spent the last couple of years like really looking into this God thing, okay? Because the last thing I want to do is like be taken down like another pathway that kind of leads to a dead end, or that I feel disillusioned with, or um, that I don't get anything from, because I'm kind of fed up with wasting my time. Okay. I'm fed up with wasting my time trying all the things and not getting anywhere, not feeling like the peace that I want, or um, just not giving. I'm fed up with that. I don't have time for that. Okay. I have like no tolerance for anything now that's wasting my time. So that's where I am now. I'm a very new Christian. I've been on this pathway for just a couple of years. Like I said, I found a fantastic church here in the UK, and I've got to say, they are non-denominational and led by the Holy Spirit, and we have experienced more love and support and care from joining this church than we ever have in all of the churches that we've been part of, which hasn't been many, because like I say, we kind of dabbled in it, we kind of looked into it, but then something would happen that would put us off. And I don't like the ritual, you know, like the religion. I don't like the ceremonial side of things so much. But this church is very, very different. Much more about worship and hearing the word. And so I found this fantastic community of people, and they're not perfect by any means, but then neither am I, so that's fine. And it's changing my life. It's changing my perspective on everything. And I think what I realize is what I'm like slowly coming to terms with, and I have done an additional video about this, but this video is like the link between this and the next video that's coming up, is that it's very difficult to understand that you have a loving father, you know, a loving heavenly father, if you haven't had a loving earthly father. And that's something that I've really been working through. And I've got to say, like, our dog died back in September, and he was 14 years old, and we'd had him since he was 2, and he'd been through so much with us, and really that was devastating for all of us. But for the first time, I allowed myself to grieve, and I actually found a lot of comfort in asking God for help, you know, just crying, just allowing myself to cry, being like that vulnerable. And it brought up a lot of like grief that I haven't processed from lots of other things. So I think that, you know, when you've been through narcissistic abuse, like grief is there, is always there, because you can't ever, I don't know, I don't say ever, you can't replace what you could have had. You can't necessarily replace like the loving family that you wish that you'd had. And I think that this is like an ongoing grieving process. I think that it doesn't stop, because there'll be like more grief there, and every time there's grief, there's an opportunity for like forgiveness too, I think, really too. And that's something that I've been really working through. Also, like feelings of bitterness, I realize that's something that I've been holding on to, that's been holding me back throughout this whole thing. So I'm going to share with you what I'm going through, okay? Because if you're not already Christian, I want you just be open-minded. I pray that you know that you will just be open-minded to this if you're not Christian, and just hear what I have to say, because I was completely closed off to it. I was like, this is not my thing. For like, and it was just like, for what I realize now is like for stupid reasons. You know, just because, well, there are hypocrites. There are hypocrites in the church. In every single church, there's going to be hypocrites. But it's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's like, well, if I'm getting something from this, I'm not going to like stop doing it because they're not doing what they should be doing, or, you know, because they're a hypocrite. It's like, it's up to me what I do, and it's up to them what they do. It's completely different pathways. And so, yeah, so this video is like the bridge between the two, okay? Because I have been really new agey stuff, and I realize now that that's just, it never gave me what I wanted. I'll be honest, it never fulfilled me. That particular group of women that I thought I was connected with in France turned out to be just not what I thought. It was like a lot of stuff, like with the veneer of all this, you know, floaty love and light stuff, but there was no like depth to it. It wasn't real. It didn't like touch their hearts. It was just like an identity that they had that put them in with a group of people, and that they were more comfortable with than maybe alternatives, maybe being Christian themselves or what have you. And really it was just a very very thin veneer for a lot of very afraid, very traumatized women who were trying desperately to find a way to cope with everything that they've been through. And I wasn't in that group, as like, I'm not saying I'm a perfect human being by any stretch of the imagination, but but that's when people are coming to the table, they're not being honest, they're not being authentic, and you can see that it doesn't, it's like the fluff. It's like like spraying a turd with gold, it's still a turd underneath it at the end of the day. And that's not reflection on these people, but it's the stuff they're going through. You can't hide your trauma by spraying it gold and putting love and light over it and saying, buy some crystals or do some meditation, or, I'm in an angel group or whatever it is. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Or that's what I found. So I'm going to share with you what I'm going through, because I hope that it will help you to understand. And if you're a Christian, hopefully you'll get something out of it. And if you're not Christian, then just hear me, because even just like being part of this community that I'm part of now, has made such a huge difference to my life. And it's been really hard to reach out. It's been really, really hard to reach out to people and ask for help, because I've been so fiercely independent. But I know that I can't do it on my own. I can't do any of this on my own. And I have to ask for help. I have to be supported when I need it, and support when I can help other people. So that's what I want to share with you, just being completely honest. So I don't know what direction Come Up Brighter is going in. I don't know where these videos are going to go. I'm going to be completely led by God. He's dictating this to me. He's helping me. But I have to say that like one of the massive experiences that I had. So I started my new church, and then they had like a ladies' day. And I just had this, like, now I'm completely skeptical of this, so you can be as skeptical as you want. Right? I had this experience where I just felt like Jesus was sat next to me with his arm around me. And I cried and I cried and I cried. And I was, there were the two ladies that came to pray with me who were members of my church, because this ladies' day was at my church. And they helped me so much, but I was just in floods of tears. It was just, I've never had an experience like it before. And I can just say that I presume that it was like feeling the presence of Jesus and the Holy Spirit that just I felt completely undone. I was a blubbering wreck. And I'm not usually like someone who likes to show her emotions publicly. I don't really cry a huge amount, which is probably like not such a good thing, but and certainly to like cry in an environment where there were lots of other people and stuff, and especially like really big, massive tears, loads of snot, and these two women just came around me and prayed for me with whatever it was that I managed to gibber out to them, the wreck that I was. But that was huge. That was huge. That was the starting point. That was a starting point for me. That was the point, I think, when my heart started to change from a heart of stone to a heart of flesh, and I opened up my heart at that point. And really, I think, oh gosh, I'm going to get emotional now. I think what I've really realized is that that if you've gone through narcissistic abuse, you need healing that only Jesus can give you. And you won't find it anywhere else. You won't find it. It's not as whole. It's not as, it doesn't quite get it. And I've tried lots of different healing. I've tried like the therapy. I've tried lots of different things. Okay. And nothing has helped me like this experience that I'm walking now. Nobody has helped me like my Christian sisters that I'm going through this with now. I know that they will be there for me. And I'm actually finding a true sense of belonging. And it's not necessarily in my church, okay? And it's not necessarily like with the label of being a Christian woman, but I do feel like I'm kind of coming home. I've never fit in. I've never belonged, and I've always looked for it. So the other day, I think I sat down and I worked out that my husband and I have been together for 20 years, and we've lived in 12 different like places. And even when we were in France, we moved 3 times when we were in France. And so like a lot of it before we went to France was like for job reasons, okay? So that I got a job in a certain place, so I had to move to closer to that job, or whatever it was. So it's like practical reasons for it. But every time before I moved, I thought, this is going to be the place. I'm going to fit in here. I'm going to find my place here. But then in France, we just moved. There was like no reason for it. We just moved. Every time we thought, oh, we want this different thing. And I think really what I've spent the last 40 odd years doing is trying to find somewhere where I belong. And I've been looking to the different towns and maybe my different jobs and my different roles and my different like hobbies to like give me a place of belonging, or give me a feeling of belonging that I never had in my family. I was the odd one out. I felt like my mum, dad, and brother were like in this little club, and I was excluded from it for some reason. Which I understand now more. But I found more belonging since I've really turned to God, and I'm learning to trust him and believe in his promises for me. And I'm really trying to walk with Jesus on this. And there's so much in the Bible about like the world will hate you kind of thing. And I don't know that I felt that the world hates me, but I've never fitted in. I don't know, like people just take like an instant dislike to me, and there's like no reason for it. Okay, that they sometimes people haven't even met me and they take this like dislike to me. Sometimes they've met me a couple of times and they take this dislike to me, and then they start the smear campaign against me. And sometimes they like pretend to be my friend, but actually they're doing all this stuff underneath. They're doing all this like they're like portraying me during our friendship, if that makes sense. So they'll be talking about me to somebody else, or they'll be betraying my confidences with someone else, or they'll be like pretending to be all nice to me, but really they hate me, or they're jealous of me, or all this kind of stuff. And the Bible seems to offer an explanation for that, is that I don't really belong here, and I don't fit in. This world is not comfortable for me. And I'm sharing this because a lot of people email me or message, like comment in the things and say, I know where you're coming from. And that's why I want to share it with you, because it's like providing me with like an explanation of why I've always felt like I don't fit in. So like with my family, I was like deliberately made to not fit in. Okay. And there was something about me that, I don't know, they found uncomfortable, or they wanted to destroy, or they didn't like about me, or whatever it was, I don't know. So that was like a deliberate thing. I was made to feel like the outcast, like the outsider. And that was deliberate. That was to like, I think, try to like destroy me, or try to, I don't know, just to be horrible. I don't know. Anyway, there was something in me that they didn't like. And then what has happened is I've seen that same story playing out with other people, but there's like, let's like no explanation for it. Because if I went out there and I was like gossiping about everybody, and I was really unpleasant to everybody, I could like understand it, be like, oh, steer clear of Claire, she's a real bitch, kind of thing. But that's not what I am. I am what you see is what you get. There's no duplicity. I don't gossip. I hate two-facedness. I value authenticity. I value truth and honesty. And And that's not what I am. So it's been like really jarring me for a very long time, like my whole of my lifetime. Why is it that I think I'm an okay person, but yet people just take like offense to me without me even opening my mouth? There's something about me. But understanding that that's like, like how I'm not saying that I'm Jesus, but it was like how it was for Jesus, that he didn't fit in, he wasn't of this world, and the world hated him. It just kind of makes me feel a little bit better. And I think that's why it's like, it feels like I belong more, because what I've read in the Bible makes more sense to me than what I've read of anything in the world, what I've seen of anything of the world. So that's, I just wanted to share that with you, because I think there's a lot of people that feel the same way. And what I'm like slowly starting to accept is that maybe I'm not going to fit in. Maybe I'm not designed to fit in. Maybe God created me not to fit in. Maybe whatever it is that people see in me or feel about me is like a good thing, and I'm here to like help people with it. But maybe the people that don't like it in me are the ones that don't want to heal. Maybe they're the ones that it like shines a light on them or something. I don't know. Anyway, I feel like I'm gibbering now. So but I just wanted to share that with you, because I see that there's a lot of people that have connected with me privately that say that they feel the same way, and I'm finding like an explanation for it. So I don't know what these videos are gonna be. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Going to be entirely God-led. It's entirely up to him, and I hope that it makes sense to you. I hope that you can resonate with some of the stuff that I'm talking about. And if you can, and if you want to reach out to me, you want to discuss this further, whatever you want to do, then either drop a comment below or email me, Clare, CLARE, comebackbrighter@gmail.com. Take care. Bye.